friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin, and we are outside today because we have so much we need to get done. It has been raining. I have the bunny out and she has her zoomies. It has been raining out for the past 5 days, pouring buckets. So we haven't been able to get outside. It is the first weekend in May, and ideally I would like to have some of these plants and most of my flowers already planted outside in the garden. But because it's been raining, and then we actually had a cool front come in, it's been actually pretty cool for the past few weeks, I haven't been able to get anything in the garden. So I have said today we're getting stuff in the garden with an asterisk. We're getting 90% of the stuff in the garden. I have all of my tomatoes here we're going to go over. I don't know what I'm doing yet in terms of how many of what variety. I have the rest of my flowers that are ready to go out, minus the zinnias and the sunflowers. They're not going to go out today. I need to start hardening them off. And then the only things that are not getting planted today are the peppers, the tomatillos, and the eggplants. Miss Fig is testing her boundaries with the fence. So anywho, it has been really, really hard for me to get these tomatoes hardened off. I've tried, and at this point, it is what it is. I'm hoping they don't die. And at this point, they won't die. They may shock, but they definitely won't die. So I was out of town 3 weeks ago. I was out of town for a week. I came home, and it was cold. It was too cold to put the tomatoes out. I finally got them outside. We didn't really have a lot of sun because we were having so much rain. And the days that it didn't rain, it's basically been cloudy. Miss Fig, don't eat my Brussels. No, that's a plant. Don't eat that. So that is not what I want you to eat. So because it has been so rainy and so gloomy, not only are my plants suffering, but all of the animals have been dying to get outside. And you can definitely tell Miss Fig is tired of being cooped up because she's just running amok. She's being a crazy bunny today. But anywho, so like I was saying, I wasn't able to get these tomatoes hardened off in the proper way that I would have wanted to because we just didn't have the sun. And at this point, the 10-day forecast is a little iffy. It's warm weather, but there is a lot of rain, a lot of clouds. Today is so far a very pretty day, but that may change. So I don't have time to wait to get these guys hardened off perfectly. They at this point have been outside full time for about 5 days. But like I said, we just haven't had much actual heavy sun. So I am praying that these work fine. If I was smarter, I would just wait and harden them off when Mother Nature allowed me to, but I am obviously not smart because I want to get them in the ground today. And because I work a full-time job, I don't have a ton of time to wait for Mother Nature to cooperate with me. So these guys are going to go in the ground today. We also got our onion delivery. So I order all of my onions from Dixondale Farms, and I was late this year. I normally prefer to have it in a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. So I got my onions delivered, and they're going to go in today. So I got 2 bunches. I get Walla Walla onions. Those are the ones that I find that I really like. These guys in the ground. And then we also have a whole bunch of flowers. We have our poppies, our hollyhocks, our cosmos, and we have our gladiolus bulbs. We bought gladiolus bulbs at Sam's together a couple of months ago. So the gladiolus bulbs aren't going to go, actually, I don't know. We might put them in this garden. I did, in between a rainstorm, I don't even remember where I put them. In between a rainstorm the other day, I did plant out a good chunk of my nasturtiums. I still have, I think, 1 6-pack of nasturtiums left. They did get really leggy on me, so we're going to see how they go. I'm hoping they're able to recuperate once they're in the ground. But I forget where I put them. I was literally like digging holes and throwing plants in just because it was in between rainstorms. So we're going to plant out the rest of our nasturtiums. So the only things that we don't have in the garden that will not be going in today are all of our peppers, our sunflowers, our zinnias, and our eggplants, our tomatillos, tamarillos. I have a ground cherry that I'm in the process of hardening off now. But then I think that's, oh, and our squash. I don't know where my squash is. I gotta find that. Let me show you my zucchini. Look at my zucchini. These are pathetic. So these are going to get thrown away. I'm not going to use these. They got leggy while I was gone, unfortunately. So I am going to need to buy some zucchini. And I don't know where my butternut squash is. That must still be inside. I don't remember seeing that, so I may need to buy some butternut squash. I'm not sure. But today we're doing tomatoes. So we have a whole bunch of different varieties of tomatoes. So I think I'm going to get them out and get them organized on this table and then decide how many I want to do and where I want to do them. We're going to be putting the tomatoes down there in that whole big section. I think I decided I can do 15 down there, but I'm not actually sure. So let me go see everything I have and then come up with a plan. My tomatoes look beat up. They look pretty beat up. Some have completely died. So part of what the problem is with these tomatoes is they're big and they need to go in the ground. And I don't want to call it laziness, but we're going to call it laziness. We're going to call it laziness, lack of time, whatever. I have a good chunk of them in 6-pack trays still. Very small 6-pack trays. These 150% needed to be up-potted into bigger pots, into preferably at least a 4-inch pot. There's a couple of factors that go into that for me. Lack of time. I don't have a ton of time that I can spend up-potting things when these are going to give me tomatoes just fine. They're not as happy as tomatoes in 4-inch pots, but they're going to give me, I tell them how pretty they are every day, they're going to give me tomatoes just fine. But two, I think partly the bigger issue is I just don't have enough space. I have a lot of tomatoes here, and I just don't have enough space for everything that needs to be in the 4-inch pots to be in the 4-inch pots. It's the same with my peppers. I have my peppers in 2-inch pots, like this tomato guy here, and it is what it is, you know. I ideally one day will have the space and the time to give them exactly what they need, but we make do, and it's going to be just fine. So let me flip you around. I'll show you the varieties that I have, and I guess then I'm going to try to come up with a game plan. I don't know what my game plan is. So you have quite a lot going on here. So right here, this little patch of tomatoes is yellow Brandywines. And then I also have a good chunk, there's kind of a whole row that kind of comes back in here, of red Brandywines. Here I have Mushroom Basket. These are all of my Romas. These are Paul Robesons. This is just one thing of cherry red tomatoes. I somehow only have one bread and salt tomato. That guy, and he's looking worse for the wear. And then these guys, I don't know what they are. So, Cherokee Purple are my favorite tomatoes. Yeah, they're my favorite tomatoes. And I know I planted a 6-pack with them. I know I planted a 6-pack of Cherokee Purples. I found a 3-pack of Cherokee Purples, and these guys are done. But I can't find the 6-pack of Cherokee Purples. So one, that sucks. So I'm thinking, and I wish there was a way to tell, and there's not until it gives fruit. I'm thinking this is my Cherokee Purple. I am praying it is not anything else. So what I was originally going to, and I'm still going to plant these with the assumption that those are Cherokee Purple. However, I think I'm still going to go and get at least one Cherokee Purple tomato plant from the store, just so I know I have some, because they are my favorite, and you can't buy them at the store. And if I put all of my eggs into that 6-pack of being a Cherokee Purple that just lost its tag, and it turns out to be not a Cherokee Purple, I'm going to be sad. Very sad. So, I don't know what I'm doing. So I know when I do my tomatoes, I know I like to have color. So like I love to do tomato caprese salads. So I love to have the Cherokee Purple, a beautiful red tomato, and a beautiful yellow tomato. One day I'll throw green in there too somewhere. So I know I'm going to do, probably, my yellow Brandywines do so well for me. So I think I'm going to do one of them, maybe two of them tops, and that's it. Last year, all I had was yellow tomatoes, and all of my tomato products, like tomato sauce and salsa, have like an orange tint to them. So I think we're only going to do one, maybe two of the yellow Brandywines. I want to do probably two mushroom baskets because I really like, they have a really unique design feature to them. They're kind of like, they look kind of like a basket. Like they're just kind of like grooved around the whole mushroom. So I really like them for the different design, kind of aesthetic look that the mushroom basket will add to a basket of tomatoes. I have one bread and salt that looks good. I have a couple others, a bread and salt that died. So I'm going to throw one bread and salt in the garden. And then I'm going to do, I don't even know. Let's go lay out. I feel like I have the start of a plan. So let me go lay it out and see what happens. Guys, I just found my 6-pack of Cherokees. These are March Cherokees, and they don't look great, but they're going to be just fine. So all 6 of these are going to go, I think, in the ground. Let's see. Okay, friends, I did not come up with a plan of attack. I just brought the tomatoes that I know I want to get over in the garden, or the tomatoes I know I want to plant. I brought a couple varieties of each. I tried to kind of eyeball it, but we're just going to throw them in the ground and see how much space we can fit, how many tomatoes we can fit in this space. I need to get a hori-hori knife. I don't have one, so I brought out literally a steak knife from my kitchen, and I'm going to use it to cut into the cardboard so that I need to get my trowel so I can dig a hole through the cardboard for my tomatoes. And there are a couple spots where thistle is coming up. I've been going and picking the thistle, so we're going to get, I have a bucket here, and as we plant, we're going to pull the thistle that is coming through the cardboard. And then at some point this weekend, I'm going to get a layer of straw. Once all these tomatoes are planted, we'll get a layer of straw and we'll cover the whole place with tomatoes and just try to stay up on the thistle that is poking through. At the bottom of each hole, I'm going to put a layer of crushed eggshells. These are eggshells that I've been gathering for the past year. So I just put a sprinkle of eggshells, or a good handful of eggshells, and then I just have 444 vegetable garden fertilizer. I'm going to be putting this at the bottom of each hole as well, just to give them a boost. When I plant my tomatoes, this is not a great example because it's such a terrible looking plant. This is my bread and salt one that got a little beat up, got very beat up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plant it deep. I'm actually going to plant it up to these top leaves. So I'm going to take off these smaller leaves, and all of these little spines along the stem will actually root. So I'm going to plant all of my tomatoes up to their taller leaves, pinch off any bottom ones, and then like this guy here, once I get him in the ground, he'll be touching the ground, so I'll probably pinch him off once I get him in the ground so that no leaves are touching the ground. By planting it deep, you encourage the plant to grow roots, which make it, one, a stronger plant, and when you have any leaves that touch the ground, that just invites disease. So especially when you plant them and as you're pruning them throughout the year, you want to just pinch off any of those stems that touch the ground, because you don't want any of that wetness and that moisture on the ground to get up into our plant. 20 minutes and a big old bucket of weeds later, we have 13 tomatoes in the ground. I kept my rows, and then I wanted to add one more, so I stuck one more in, and I'm hoping I don't regret this. But I'm going to show you where I have everything, because not everything is marked, so this is as much for you as it is for me, so I know what is what. So it's hard to see right now, obviously, because they're so small, and especially over in this area, I didn't have to use my knife at all in order to cut the cardboard. It did already start breaking down, but like that piece there hadn't started breaking down, so I just folded it up. There's a tomato right in front of it, and when I put my hay down, I'll just double it back over on that side on itself. So I kind of worked over there this way to here, and this last one is a Paul Robeson, and this is one I wanted to have another one of, so I threw a Paul Robeson down there. So that's why those are the only two that are not going to be grouped together. So right there is my Paul Robeson. Here I have 2 yellow Brandywines, and I tried to keep a little bit of a path. I tried to do a line too. I'm kind of bad at lines. But I tried to keep a path so that I could hopefully walk through in order to harvest my tomatoes. This is, I already forget now. Oh, okay. I did 1 yellow Brandywine. Just one. I already forget. Okay, let's see. See if I can talk my way through this. I said I was only doing 1 yellow Brandywine, and I don't think I did 2. I think... Okay, let's go backwards, because backwards was more recent. This is terrible. Okay, I have a Paul Robeson here, and then I did 4 Roma tomatoes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 Roma tomatoes. And then I did 2 red Brandywines. So I have 1 red Brandywine, and then another red Brandywine back there. I don't know if y'all can see that. I hope you can. So coming down the red Brandywine aisle, I did 2 mushroom baskets. So this one and that one are 2 mushroom baskets. And then I did 2 Cherokee purples. So 2 Cherokee purples are there, and 1 yellow Brandywine there. So I think that's the final thing. 1 yellow Brandywine, followed by 2 Cherokees, 2 mushrooms, 2 red Brandywines, 4 Romas, and then a Paul Robeson over here, and a Paul Robeson over yonder. So what I did decide is the red cherry tomatoes I'm going to put in the patio garden, because I think, come on, I can actually see maybe what I'm doing. I'm going to put the red cherry tomatoes in the patio garden. I'm going to do 2 of them. I'm going to get, I thought I started a sun gold cherry tomato, and I didn't. So I'm going to do 1 or 2 of the red cherries, and then 1 sun gold cherry up in the patio garden, and that way when I just want to have them for like salads or quick dinners or something like that, I don't have to run down here to the whole garden. I can just go to the patio garden, and then that puts them up there. And then I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put 1 more Cherokee purple. I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like I need more than 1 yellow tomato. I only have 1. So I feel like I need more. So we may keep planting more tomatoes in the next couple of days. We may throw them places. I don't really know. But now I have 13 down there. So that's 13. So let's move on. Now I want to focus on the onions. It has drastically cooled off, and it's gotten windy. So I don't know if they're calling for storms today, but the weather is not looking good so far. It's still sunny, but it's probably dropped like 5 or 6 degrees in the last hour. So I definitely want to get these in, and then around the teepee. So my plan is I want to get the onions in, and I want to get these flowers in. I have some calendula, some hollyhock, poppies. I want to throw them in the garden, and then I want to get that thistle around the teepee hold today. That's what my goal is. So these are my onions, and so when you buy onions, you can buy onion starts or onion sets. These are onion starts. Onion sets spend their first year putting off a small onion and then mainly go into seed to give you seed onions. Onion starts, I never quite understand. They're supposed to be the second year onions, but anyhow, onion starts when you buy them like this. This is what you want to buy to actually get a big onion and to not have it just go straight to seed. So you can buy them in the bunch. I bought these from Dixondale, and the more bunches you buy, the cheaper they are. So I think these bunches they're between 50 to 75 onions, and they came out to $11 a piece. I bought two onions, and I just got white onions. That's what I use the most. My red onions, I could buy just a bushel of them or a small, crate of them from a local farmer's market, and that'll last me for a long time. I don't use them as much as I use my white onions for my everyday cooking. So we're going to get these first planted, and then once they're planted, I'm going to fertilize them. They're heavy nitrogen feeders, so especially when they're bulbing up, you want to feed them for every 2 weeks, basically on a schedule. So let's get these in the ground. I'll show you how easy they are to plant, and then we'll talk about fertilizing. Okay, I completely forgot that I also need to plant, and it might not be today. I don't think it's going to be today, but I also need to plant the things that I plant directly into the ground, like my green beans. I need to put on my trellis back there, and I really need to get my beans on my back bean trellis. So that might be that'll happen this weekend. I need to make that happen this weekend. Beans, when you plant beans, they do take, like black beans, normally take about 120 days. So I could get those in the ground and get them at least started. So I thought I was close. I don't think I'm close. I have green beans to plant, haven't got my sweet potatoes yet. We have time on the sweet potatoes. Still have a lot to do. Starting to feel slightly overwhelmed, but we're going to push past it, and we're just going to worry about our onions. So I'm just taking them apart, and this is a new bed that I just built, or my dad just built for me, and I filled this with a really high quality soil, so I'm excited for the results of this bed. So I'm just going to take my onion, and it has greenery at the top, and it has just some roots at the bottom. And it can look a little wilted, that's just fine. And I'm going to just basically press it into the soil just so it stands. You don't want to cover it real deep. You basically just want the roots in the soil. And I do about 5 inches or a hand. I think I really am terrible at eyeing things and measuring things, but about 5 to 8 inches. Just basically how big like a regular onion gets, an onion bulb, depending on the type of onion you bulb. And you just want to make sure you give it that much space in between. So maybe measure and not eyeball it like me, because I'm really bad at it. So I just go and I sit in one spot. Maybe go further back. And I just press them in. And now the thing that I really like, I love growing onions. I actually really like growing garlic too, but I'm not successful when I grow garlic, is you can eat all of this, and I really love that you can eat everything. So obviously you eat the bulb because of the onion, but then I love the greens. You can do so much with the greens. Number one, you can dehydrate the greens and make a green onion powder. I've done that, but my favorite way, you can also do like a green onion paste, where if you don't have these guys in a row, goodness, I'm trying to be better at like making sure things are in rows, because it looks better when everything's kind of organized. My favorite way to enjoy these greens is to just cut the greens off, wash them, and freeze them. You can put them in soups. I put them in my vegetable packets. You can even use them if you just want to use them to make broth. Definitely add them to make broth. They just have such a great mild onion flavor. They're really worth it. Okay, one bunch just about filled this whole bed. I think I had to pull about 10 out of the second bunch. And I thought the bunches were 50 to 75 starts, but I have around 130 starts in this bed. So each bunch was about 100, or the first bunch was about 100 starts. So I guess I have about 100 onions in this bed. I have a whole another bunch to do. So we're going to put them in the second bed. But I don't even know what time it is. I'm hungry. I've had the animals out for a while, so I'm going to take them inside so we can get some cool down, get some water. Starting to get warm again, so I don't know what's going on. It must be storming somewhere because the temperature is really fluctuating. But anyhow, we're going to go take a break, and then we're going to come back, and I have a second bed that I was going to plant with onions. I'm going to get as many of these onions in the ground as we can, and then I have a girlfriend who wants to plant onions at her house, so I told her whatever I had left over, I would give to her. So we're going to get these planted, and then we'll fertilize, and then once everything's done, like I said, we still have some flowers we need to plant. I will water everything, and they're not calling for water, for rain. I don't even know what they're calling for. I don't know what they're calling for. But I'm going to water everything anyway, just so that I know it got watered in, and then we'll be done for the day. So I'm going to go eat lunch, take the animals in, and then we'll be back for round 2 of planting. Okay, it's been, I don't even know what time it is. I'm exhausted. But we got a lot done. My camera did die, so I unfortunately had to stop filming. But I'm going to show you everything that we did. So we planted, that was unnecessary. I have no idea what that is. So we got a lot of plants out in this patio garden. I just threw, and you can't honestly really see them yet just because they're so small, but we threw all of our poppies in here, some cosmos, I think that's basically it. We did put, I'm starting to yank out, I have some dead arborvitaes that I got that looked really pretty in here, but they did not last their first year. They all died. So I finally ripped one of them out, and I put one of the cherry tomatoes in there. So I think that's basically it. Oh, and in here we put a lot of the gladiolus bulbs. I just bought them from Sam's probably a month and a half ago. But it's I could have got them out probably about 2 weeks ago, but it's still been cold and wet and messy, and so I don't, basically what I'm trying to say is they were basically rotten. They had mold on them, so I don't know if those gladies are going to grow or not. I wish I still had the receipt because I would have returned those bulbs. I don't think it was my fault. They were in a breathable box, they were in a breathable bag, the bag had holes all through it, so I don't think it was my fault that they were soft and moldy, but I don't know, we'll see what happens. Same thing here, again, you can't really see it. I put a ton of those gladiolus bulbs in this space, and we'll see if they come. I also threw, so a couple of cosmos in here, and see, this is why. I already forget. As I'm like planning and stuff, I'm gonna remember so I can go back and update the video and say what I've done, and I don't remember. So I did cosmos, a couple of poppies in this bed. I don't know what else. We'll see as it grows. And then right here, I do remember I did put a black hollyhock that I'm excited for. So then that means these beds are completely planted out minus their sunflowers and their zinnias. I still need to do that. And they're inside. I just need to actually bring them out and harden them off. We got all the tomatoes in the ground. I didn't end up planting, I only planted one cherry tomato in the patio garden. So we're going to play it by ear and see if I want to do any more, like another yellow up there or another Cherokee purple. And most likely I will. Just right now I'm not really feeling motivated. I don't really have the energy. We did a good amount of work today. I need to get cleaned up. It is Cinco de Mayo. So I'm having a friend over tonight for dinner. We're doing shrimp tacos and margaritas. So I need to go buy all the stuff for that and get a shower. So I'm okay. And I'm tired. So I'm okay that we're taking a break. But we got both of these garden beds planted out with onions. I'm going to do my run-in first, and then this evening I'm going to fertilize with a heavy nitrogen fertilizer, water them in. I've already chased out a couple of birds from the onion beds, so that's one thing you do have to keep your eyes on. Birds will like to pluck your onions out of the soil, so if you see them plucked out, just go stick them back in until they root. And as we go along, I'll show you guys how to take care of these. Basically, we're going to feed these every 2 weeks, and there's something called hill in your onions, or spoon in your onions, and there's all kinds of things that we're going to do as these guys grow. But for right now, we just want to feed them and get them watered in. And then we're also going to want to water in our tomatoes. We planted our tomatoes all back there, and that is the dove that has just been hanging out in my garden. So before we sign off for the day, let's just have a quick powwow. It is a busy day today. There's trucks honking, sirens going. I do not know what is happening today. But quick powwow. So I am making it a very sincere point to enjoy my garden even more than I do any other time. Which means right now I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm hot, I'm sweaty. No part of me wants to continue planting things or anything. I literally have just been going throwing plants in holes, which is what I like to do, especially with this garden space down here. I will throw plants in holes, and I like that because I like things like your zinnias and your sunnies and my cosmos and my nasturtiums and all these plants that bloom for the entire summer. What is in that bed, like the vegetable in that bed, like for instance, I put nasturtium and a couple of dahlias in my broccoli and cabbage bed, and that bed will be done probably mid-June, early July, so that bed will get ripped out and I'll plant something else in there. But when that bed is on its way out, I'll still have beautiful flowers in that bed. So I like that we have all of these summer-long flowers that just provide so much color and height and beauty to the garden as things transition in and out. I live within, I think, like a mile, not even a mile, I think I live within half a mile of 3 fire houses, which is really great. I'd rather live close to them. But I do hear sirens going all the time, and it's a fun fact that I am terrified of fire engines, I am terrified of sirens, I am terrified of the whole kit and caboodle. So, I live in a good place. But, so, in addition to enjoying my garden more, I'm planting flowers, I'm throwing flowers everywhere, I'm trying to be more intentional, especially about really just filling this space with beauty. I also have put 2 bird feeders, and I'm gonna go in today as soon as I get some of my stuff done. And I bought a new hummingbird feeder that I'm really excited about. I had some, but we have more now because we like it. But so I have these bird feeders out, and I have so many birds in my garden. There's just been this dove that's been hanging out with me all morning. I have a cardinal that I now claim as my cardinal. So I already saw her today. I think I saw her today, or him today. But so I'm just getting so much joy about all of the wildlife and the animals and just the beauty of this space. So, to the untrained eye, there is a lot of weeds. There is a lot of green that is not things I'm going to eat. There are a lot of weeds. And that sucks. I love that dove is just hanging out in my garden. It's just been hopping and flying, so it's not injured. It is weird to see it just kind of like laying in my garden, but I just saw it hopping and flying around, so it's fine. But it does bring me so much joy. So I have ordered my chip drop delivery. I'm hoping I get that soon. I actually thought I would have that by now, because as soon as I get the chip drop delivery, then I'm going to mulch all of my pathways, and then that'll really be helpful in getting some of these weeds down. I'm not really spending too much time messing with the grass that's growing in the paths and along the beds and stuff, because I know it's just going to come back. So I'm kind of like, wait until you get your trips, and then you can pull it and then mulch it and then hopefully fight it. Hopefully it doesn't come back. But we haven't gotten that yet, so I'm not worried about it right now. We have a whole bunch of tomatoes here that we can gift to some friends, and a whole bunch of other plants. I have so many other plants. I need to call my girlfriend and be like, hey, said you wanted plants, right? Well, I have them for you. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I think this has been a long video. Kind of scattered all over the place, but I just wanted to bring you along while we got in the garden, got some stuff done. And the garden is a ton of work. It absolutely is. But do it when you want to do it. Do it when you're excited. So like right now, I don't want to work in the garden anymore. I don't want to pull weeds. I was going to pull a whole bunch of thistle by that TP, and I 100% should do that. But I have time. We have tomorrow. I have time. That thistle is not going anywhere. So I'm really trying to make a point to work in the garden when I actually feel motivated to want to work in the garden. And then once I've kind of extinguished that motivation, like today, I'm just like, okay, we can take a break. We can go move on to something else. So I don't know what the weather is doing. Again, it's cooled down, but it goes from hot to cool. So we're gonna get everything watered in, and I'm gonna get a shower, and then I'm gonna get everything watered in. And that's the thing I like to do too. I like to spend my evenings watering in my plants, fertilizing, and doing like an evening walk around and like looking at my vegetables. So that's what I'm going to do this evening, and I think it's gonna be a good time. So currently we still have to plant all of my beans. We need to plant our eggplants, our peppers, our tomatillos, camarillos, and I need to buy my zucchini and check on my butternut squash. I have cucumbers that need to go in the garden yet. So yeah, we're not really close. We're maybe like halfway there. I have 1, 2, 3 beds that need planted yet, and then some more in-ground space, but we're getting there. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel for the whole garden being planted out, and I'm excited. Thank you guys for joining me, and stay tuned as this garden grows this summer. I'll bring you guys along for garden tours, and just come out and hang out in the garden with me. So thanks for keeping me company while we got all this stuff done, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, friends.